Hi everyone. In this video we're going to take a quick look at performing one sample inference for a mean using SPSS. We're going to create a confidence interval and perform a hypothesis test using the t-distribution. And I am analyzing the MT-CARS dataset once again. As always, there's a link in the description below if you'd like to download the data to follow along. So both of these inference procedures are actually in the same spot. So we're going to go to Analyze and then down to Compare Means. And once in Compare Means, we go over to One Sample T-Test. Clicking on that brings up this dialog box here. We have our list of variables in the data set over on the left, and I'm going to analyze miles per gallon. So I'm going to send miles per gallon over to the right into the test variables box. And the first thing I want to do is create a confidence interval. And when we're creating confidence intervals, it's important to leave this number here in the test value box. We want to leave that as 0 when we're creating a confidence interval. So I'm not going to change that. I'm going to leave that as 0 because the first thing I want to look at is confidence interval. Also, it's important to know in this options button right here, clicking that, this is where we can set our confidence level. By default, we're going to get a 95% confidence interval, but we might want to change that, and if we do, we can change the value for our confidence level by clicking the options button. So I'll click continue, leave it at 95%, click OK, and here's the output that's produced. We have two tables of output. The first table has some summary statistics. The second table is where we want to go to get our confidence interval. And the last two values in this second table show us the output for the confidence interval. Right here it tells us we have a 95% confidence interval, and we have the lower value right here, 17.918, and the upper value right there, 22.264. And that's our confidence interval. All right, so next thing I want to do is look at performing a hypothesis test. But first, I'm going to delete that output so the output viewer here doesn't get too cluttered. And once again, we just go to Analyze, Compare Means, and One Sample T-Test. This time, we'll be performing a hypothesis test. I'm going to be analyzing miles per gallon once again. And what's changing is now we do want to enter some value in the test value box. And basically, the value that goes in here is the value from the null hypothesis. So that's the value that we're testing. So I'm going to get rid of that 0. And let's say that I was interested in performing a test to determine whether or not the mean miles per gallon was 22. So that means I'm going to enter 22 in the test value box here, and this will give us our hypothesis test output. Click OK. Once again, we have two tables of output. The top table hasn't changed. We just have our summary statistics. And now the second table, where our hypothesis test output is, we can see we have a test value of 22. So that means we have 22 is the value in the null hypothesis. And primary interest to us, we have over here on the left, the first value in the table. There's our test statistic. So it's a t-value since we're doing a t-test. Right next to that, this test has 31 degrees of freedom. So that's the degrees of freedom for the test. And then finally, probably third value that we're most interested in is this p-value right here. So the significance, two-tailed box, that 0.083, that's where the p-value is for the two-tailed alternative hypothesis. So that wraps up looking at one sample inference for a mean in SPSS. I hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching.